Morel and I, since day one, we knew we wanted this forum, really, this facility to be about total wellness, because we know so many other factors affect our hair and whether our hair is thriving. That could be anything from our nutrition, medications, stress, and today we're gonna get all into it. We're gonna get deeply into these topics. How many of you, when you hear the term hair health, what comes to your mind immediately? When you hear that term hair health, what comes to mind?
Growing hair.
Growing hair, yes, we want it to grow,
all of
right?
that.
We want it to grow for sure. What else comes to mind?
Your hair looking healthy.
Your hair being healthy, absolutely.
Feel,
Yes.
touch.
Yes, we want it to be glossy, shiny, bouncy. We want all of those things. I know that's what I want. So, but what impacts that? It's not just what we put on the outside, it's also what's on the inside.
Absolutely.
And that's what we're going to be talking about today. So I am very excited about this conversation today. And you all, we're going to be having monthly community wellness forums. So I want you to just get locked in into following us on all social media platforms, because we're going to be doing this monthly. Because if we're going to be healthy, we want to be healthy and beautiful inside and out. And so we have to talk about what's going on inside and out. So today is an educational conversation, not an individual medical diagnosis. Hair loss can really have many causes. So persistent, sudden, or concerning changes that you may be experiencing should really be evaluated by an appropriate licensed health professional. And we have some licensed health professionals here today. And so I am going to introduce the founder and lead trichologist, who needs no introduction, but I will introduce her anyway. Morel O'Kane is a certified trichologist who developed her holistic approach after her personal experience with alopecia. She has 20 plus years as a master cosmetologist, and she does great locks. She's a speaker and podcast host of The Hair Debate, 19-year salon suite tenant and beauty business advocate. She's also an author, because she's trying to get this message out to as many people as she can of the 7 love languages of hair. She's an author, you all. Let's give her a hand for that. Yes.
Thank you.
And in addition to that, I don't know how she does it all, but Morel also leads the Black Beauty Industry Initiative, BBII, with the Atlanta Black Chambers. So she champions the deep connection between hair health, confidence, and internal wellness, setting the clinical standard for all services here at Sweet Morality. So let's give her a hand.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yes, and now I also have the pleasure of introducing someone you've already heard from, Dr. Joyce Scott. She's been dropping knowledge gems since she walked through the door today. But she has over 40 years of experience in nutrition, so absolutely we should be listening to everything she's saying. And she's going to share even more about nutrition, superfoods, and whole body wellness, and how it can support healthier hair growth. She specializes in vegetarian nutrition, body detoxification, and healthy cooking workshops, plus a whole lot more. She has effectively helped individuals improve their health through healthy nutrition, food combining principles. She was just speaking about food combining moments ago. Superfoods and detoxification. So let's welcome Dr. Joyce Scott. And we also have Miss Tiffany Gibson.
Yes.
She is a licensed professional counselor, a national certified counselor, and owner of the Jewel Professor, a behavioral health agency right here in Opelika. With more than 21 years of counseling experience, she is a dedicated advocate for mental health, education, and community wellness. Tiffany brings valuable insight into the connection between emotional well-being, stress, whole body health, and how it's connected to healthy hair growth. So thank you, Ms. Tiffany Gibson. Let's give her a hand. Woo! And it is my pleasure to be here to moderate this panel discussion today. I have over 25 years of experience in engineering, leadership development, and executive coaching. I work with leaders in healthcare, government, higher education, and nonprofit organizations. I love to help people move from one space in life, whatever that is, to your next space in life, having goals and being able to figure out what do I need to do to get to that next level. So it's my pleasure to be here with you as well.
Yes.
So let's get into it. Thank you all. Thank you for being here.
Yes.
And we want this to be conversational because what we know is that we're all bringing experiences to this conversation today. So we invite you, although we're sitting up here, but we invite you to bring your voice into the room in this important, very important conversation today. So is that okay? Let me hear you say yes. Yes, yes. So we're all here to learn, grow, and share. So let's bring our voices into the room so we can make this a very insightful conversation today. So let's get into it. We're going to start with clinical wellness and our expert, Dr. Scott, here, because we've been advertising today's forum about mitochondria. So Dr. Scott, in simple terms that we can all understand, tell us exactly what is mitochondria and what do they do for us?
Yes, they are why your eyes opened this morning. It took energy to open your eyes. Some people closed their eyes last night and they didn't open this morning because your mitochondria ran out. It was finished. So the one thing we have to do every day is grow it because we came from like a single cell of mitochondria. And when we're born, we have a lot of it. We were just running around the house, sit down, y'all be still. And the next thing you know, you're back running again. Your joints move, your knees worked, mine's still working, you know, at 72.
Wow. Oh my goodness.
And they can, they can wobble.
Oh my goodness.
So that's because I've been growing my mitochondria. Isn't that beautiful?
Okay, whatever you taking. That's what we want. Sign me up right now.
I brought a little bit with me.
Oh my goodness.
Because you know, I like to ask people, how long do you want to live? It depends on how big your leak is, how much mitochondria you still have left. Because, you know, we think we're made up of a bunch of molecules, and then that's making the cells, but we actually, it all boils down to the mitochondria. So how I got so deep into it is, like, I saw a client yesterday. She had a stroke and she was down. She had lost her job, but staying in the house where she was working. She'd come to your house if you were, you know, sick. She'd go to these homes where sick people live. And now she's a client in that home. And so she had had a stroke. She's like, I need help. She was on a walking cane and kind of dragging one side. I've only known her about 7 weeks or less. Now, you wouldn't even know. And it's been 1.5 years. We've been feeding and growing her mitochondria. And she's looking like she never had a stroke. That's crazy, isn't it? So it's, and when we take a hit like have a disease, your mitochondria is dysfunctioning. That's how you know you better be growing it. The cartilage in your knees, you're not drinking that pit out of the avocado seed. You're not drinking that pit at all. You didn't break it in 2 pieces, threw it in your morning smoothie, drink it. Now, instead of you got bone on bone, it regrew it because you're feeding your body mitochondria foods to regrow it. We didn't know. We thought we grew old, got sick, damaged something. Next thing you know, you're out of here. Just start thinking, how do I become youthful? Keep growing mitochondria, keep growing. Guess what's at the top of the list? Exercise. So then I ask you, are you exercising? They say 20 minutes, maybe 30 minutes. You know, exercise that long, every day, 5 days a week. If you're sick, even with cancer, it'll get rid of it. If you're not sick with any disease, see, like, your body should be able to repair a little dementia. You shouldn't have had that in the first place if you were growing your mitochondria. We've had kids 6 years old in diapers, can't talk. Okay? We just fed them some mitochondria. Just rub it on the back of the neck. It'll go through your system. And one kid, 2 weeks, he can talk. He's out of the diaper. Just right down the road here in Montgomery, the man, the father, had 2 kids that was on the spectrum. He had one that was very withdrawn, and when you talk, he talked real quiet, but you couldn't hardly understand him. But the other was very hyperactive. He gave them the mitochondria. It comes in a cream, in a liquid oil, and it comes in a pill, like a capsule. He fed them up the first morning with all of that, took them to school. He'd go back to pick them up. He picked up 2 different boys. He had to go in to get the one that was so hyperactive from his teacher. The teacher said, look, your son could be the VP of the country. And the other one, we talked so withdrawn and quiet, you had to get up close to him. He got in the car, he said, how was your day, son? He said, I had a great day at school today, Dad. It's like, ooh, you got me now. You didn't have to get dementia, you didn't have to even lose your hair. You didn't have to have neuropathy. The client that I saw yesterday, she had had the stroke, but she said, this leg feels dead. I don't have, it feels dead. I got her standing on her tippy toes now, and she can walk tippy toe. And she said, it's alive now. I'm just feeding her different food. The quality, you become what you eat. So we just want to make sure you know what to eat to grow your mitochondria. If you're not gonna eat some of that food so much, but you've already taken a hit with your mitochondria, today, people, and especially, we want to grow that hair.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so I got a lady, she was about, I think she was about 78. She said, bring the camera, bring it real close, just put it right there. You could see it growing. The one girl said, look, I don't want any of that mitochondria because here in my town, they charging $300, $400 to braid your hair or whatever, based on the length and the thickness.
And they do.
She said, it is growing my hair too fast, it's too thick. And so I'll do it for my little grandbaby, but I'm not gonna do it.
Wow.
But that's why we want it. We want the thickness and the length and the healthiness.
So Dr. Scott, does the mitochondria just stop developing as we age, or what happens as we're
the one
aging?
who causes the dysfunctioning.
How? What do we
You
do?
see, I was sleepy on the way down. And so I thought, hey, I need some wake up. But I can't get straight caffeine because that's gonna damage my mitochondria a little bit. It may take me up and bang me on the, my energy. So get some green tea from Starbucks. I got the matcha. I said, put me 4 extra scoops in there. And then, let's get down here. We got to get right. I just start growing the mitochondria. And I do take advantage of move fast so you can grow mitochondria. Mhm.
So I'm hearing exercise, the
Definitely.
avocado pit, I heard that. And now I'm
Orangey
hearing green
foods.
tea matcha.
Yes.
So what else?
Hey, I would do orange bell peppers. Do organic food. Orange sweet potatoes. That's what's got people living around the world. They call these places blue zone. They're eating orange sweet potatoes. So I'm gonna say what got this girl where she said her legs, she can just walk and do anything she wanna do now. She's eating flaxseed and bee pollen. You know, on the land, the bees are the most important thing that we should be respecting.
Oh, wow.
When the bees leave, pack your bags, cause you're not far behind.
Wow.
So, the bee pollen, the flaxseed, she said she got strong, her muscles got strong. And she's had that stroke. They don't have to be, you know. I watched a guy yesterday, he had a stroke. I thought about him as one. That's why what he would do, he would hold that hand. He would pick it up. So you never knew it. But that's why he never left or moved before we did. But he got a circulation problem. So you want to be able to bring life back into your limbs. And there's food for that, but this food grows your mitochondria too.
Okay. So organic foods, you all. We have to do that. How many of you all want some mitochondria? I know I do. Yes. Okay, let's go to our trichology expert because it makes sense to me that we would need that cellular level energy in our hair follicles. But could you walk us through the hair growth cycle in simple terms that we can all understand? And what's happening when we have that mitochondria and how does it affect our hair growth cycle? What can we expect?
So now, when I had the conversation with Dr. Scott pertaining to the mitochondria, what I was hearing was energy. And so for me, being a visionary, I'm like, energy, you know, okay, like moving about, but how does that really affect? Like it had to make sense to me and I had to see it. And so, because I was not familiar with it, we're not hearing that terminology in the hair world. And so from doing research, what I realized is, and I have this practice in my space right now, and how I service, is that we are wonderfully and individually made. This is how God created us. And so our body is a self-healing. And so that is how I service my clients. And so looking at mitochondria from a cellular standpoint, like, okay, what is that? And what I realized is within our system, and I had to visualize it like this, like we have gravity. We have this energy, you know, source that's in our universe that we don't see. Well, within our body's makeup, and how we are designed and made, we have the same force that is literally in our cells that actually makes our system flow and react and respond. And there are other indicators within our system that also is a part of helping us respond. But now that mitochondria is that source that no one sees, but it exists. And so it's in the inner level of that cell formation. And so when it comes to the mitochondria, the hair cells actually uses the most because it's continually creating cells. It is the only organ, and hair is an organ. It actually opens up. You apply heat to it, it opens up. You can apply some things on the hair that can actually damage your system. And so with that, we have to respect and understand that it is much more than, okay, what can I purchase and buy to place on my hair? It totally starts from the inside out. And so from a mitochondrial standpoint is realizing that, okay, our hair cells is the only organ that uses and produces that many cells and actually uses the most mitochondria in our system. And so from that standpoint, I started adopting, like, okay, then how can we now start impacting mitochondria? Because this right here is the reason why alopecia right now is an epidemic.
Wow.
Can I add
Yes.
just a little bit of that? I want to say that this mitochondria, if you just put it on your scalp, it's going to go through that derma, your skin. It's transdermal. It's going in. And it's going all the way. Oh, you can't stop it from getting even to your brain. And it's just going to make you smarter. It don't just sit there. And there's thousands and thousands of these mitochondria. And like Morale said, even there for the hair, but you go to the next cell, to the heart. You go to the brain, to the eyes. They have their own mitochondria, and they're just thousands in there. But when you lost a hair, you lost that mitochondria. We got to replace it, regrow it. Thank you.
So as we're growing our mitochondria, I'm assuming, based on everything that both of you have shared so far, we can expect our hair to grow. Some of us may be experiencing now some shedding, some breakage, maybe some thinning. And I always thought, okay, my dad had, some cowlicks, as they call it. Now I'm starting to see some cowlicks. Oh, it's just my DNA.
Dysfunction.
So tell me, educate me on that. If we don't have to just accept that it's genetic, right? It's what I'm hearing. Because I don't know very many older people, more mature people, I'll say it that way, who can squat like you just squatted. I work out about 4 days a week, and watching what she just did hurt my knees. I want to be able to squat like that when I'm more mature. So please educate us on that.
Well, yeah, it's 72. We want to be still doing it now. Because at age 98, my mom was able to walk up Stone Mountain halfway up without support.
Wow.
But when she came to me at 84, I didn't let her be the typical little old mom. You gotta eat to feed those cells. So we're eating different, better. You become, like, how do you get lupus? You ate to get lupus. You remember all that chicken? That's how we got there. So eating the wrong foods, so now we can appreciate life. You want a longer, healthier, very,
Yeah,
good life.
Exactly. And so it's addressing those things, what you're eating, knowing your blood type, knowing the habits that you're doing. We address, and we would say genetically, this is what it is, because again, we're taking on the habits from generations, past generations.
Yes.
And so in keeping those habits going, then you are going to have the same illnesses that our forefathers, your parents and your grandparents and have had, and yes, that is within your family history, then that becomes genetically. But now that does not have to be your story.
Right.
It does not have to be your story.
Because we didn't have to eat what they ate. You now know better. You could do better.
But now, what, myself along with others, what we battle with is stressful eating. And, just the way of the world and the things that's going on. And so how can we manage these things, such as stress and other things, without eating the wrong foods?
I'm so glad you brought that up.
Oh, yeah.
Well, because stress, and I want to get down to Tiffany because we have to talk about stress, you all. I coach so many leaders, and what I hear so much now is I'm stressed out, I'm burned out, I'm overwhelmed, and my heart goes out to them. In fact, I run a couple of different businesses. Tiffany, educate us on what is all of this compounded stress doing to our bodies and thus our hair, and what do we do about it?
Yeah, I think it's just breaking us down, I heard you say like energy, and then you start talking about organs. So stress impacts all of that. And so stress slows us down. And when you start talking about chronic stress, it will stop us. Because we know that stress will put us in the hospital. Someone always told me that. And I think that so many times we take on so many different roles or different things instead of just stopping and saying no. We know no is a complete sentence. Some people struggle with that. We have a lot of unresolved childhood experiences that we still have not dealt with. Or maybe you dealt with a lot of stress as a child. You know, children get stressed out too, especially if you're in homes where there may be some domestic violence. There may have been a lot of poverty. There may have been, you know, parents, you know, we fussing at kids all the time. That is stressful. So if you think that if you've had a parent who has been fussing at you every day, because normally they're stressed out, so they're kind of taking it out on everyone else, and you're growing up that way, and then as life continues to hit, you're accepting more challenges, and then you're also going through some things, then you become an adult, and it's kind of just over time, that stress will wear you down, and it kind of impacts you like headaches. You know, if you have headaches a lot. I think if you do have hair loss, those are signs that this stress is chronic at this particular point, and you need to go and get some help. I know that many times, especially in the African American community, mental health is really not something we talk about. And that is definitely an issue for us. And I think the more that we educate ourselves on mental health, go get the help that we need, I think we'll be better off. I heard a young lady, the beautiful lady in the back, had mentioned, you know, about stress, and, you know, I pray about it and I let it go. And there are some people who can pray about it and let it go. But there are sometimes that people have been in certain situations, or they've experienced certain things. It's not easy to just let it go like that, no matter how hard you pray. So it's okay to pray and still go and talk to somebody about your problems. And that's something I really stress to people, like, you can still believe in God as a healer, and He have, you know, a therapist that'll talk to him. Just
That's
like
right.
if you have a heart problem, you're gonna go and get the heart, you know,
That's right.
talk to a cardiologist, or if you are diabetic, you're gonna go and get the help that you need. It's okay to go see a therapist, and for someone to help you work through some of those challenges that you have been unable to overcome on your own. Because trauma hits us all different, but it all stems back to stress and the things that we've gone through. It's just whether or not we can handle it on our own, or we go get the help that we need.
And may I add to that, because as you just stated, Tiffany, hair loss is a telltale sign, like something is wrong. And that is how God designed us. When I tell you that, what I've come to realize, and one of the things that we're actually fighting for through BBII, through the initiative, is to connect the beauty and health, to integrate the two industries, because we're on that front line. We see, we're one of the first individuals before you go to the doctor. If you have a great professional that services you, when she see things that's going on with your hair, she's going to say, you know what, I think, you know, you need to go and see a doctor. I think you need to go, when the last time you had this service or that service? It's just that important. I have seen issues with clients' hair in their scalp, referred them to the doctor. I've gone to the doctor with them because it is just that important. I want to know what is going on. So as they are assisting you, I need to be able to communicate what I'm seeing, because I need for the doctor to understand how serious this is. It's beyond just a few strands or a shading, because, you know, when you go to the doctor, you know, you may not know how serious it is, or you may not feel comfortable in communicating that. But it's just that serious. And so, you know, with that, you know, we can help and assist individuals with, you know, when they have women issues going on, like when it comes to stress. You know, God designed the body to where He's going to make sure that our vital organs are, you know, taken care of. So the hair, skin, and nails is going to come last. That's the reason why we're on the front line and we see the things, because that's the first thing that you will actually start seeing that's been affected by stress?
So I was working with the college, Claflin University. And I was working with the students and the staff and the instructors. And so income, I would just leave Atlanta and drive to South Carolina to Claflin University, and I'd be there 2-3 hours just at their service. So this afternoon, in come a student, and he had alopecia on his one side, and the hair was just gone, just an area alopecia. Now this is a young man. What is your problem? So I decided, rather than send him to the doctor, and sometimes the doctors don't know, or they are not gonna discuss it with you because they may, they're not that knowing, we are gonna say. So I said, what is bothering you? What is causing you to be stressed? And you know what? He just blotted it out. He said, my mother, I have to take care of my mom. I'm here doing college, but she's back in North Carolina or somewhere. She's got mental stress. She's going, like, maybe she's having some mental or emotional stress that causes him to step in and actually pay her bills and do this and that and do all her work. She can't sort it out. So he has to do college and run her life. It's emotional stress, it's mental stress on him. So then as a few weeks go by, and had him to admit what is really going on, and then just give him some food that helps him to handle stress. Foods that would reduce the cortisol level in your body, reduce that stress, those stressful hormones. And you know what? The hair just grew back. And it was like, you just have to admit it. Look, this is too much. I think my husband is doing it. Stress level go up. Your heart break, stress go up. Well, let me tell you, growing your mitochondria with supplements or walking or better food can just grow more mitochondria, and you could just get through it. There's one other little drink. Like if you had to buy a drink, get you some hibiscus tea and drink it all the time. Guess what? That blood pressure thing, hey, get that blood pressure down. We're not gonna stress over this. We're gonna handle it.
I love that. Don't stress, handle it.
Handle it.
So on that note, Tiffany, I'm gonna come back to you because I know how important it is to talk to a mental health professional. We may not be able to access you all every day. What are some everyday things we can do to reduce stress in our lives in between seeing a mental health professional?
Yeah, I think like food that we eat, eating healthier foods. Of course, if you're eating a lot of fried foods, that kind of makes you feel down, kind of sluggish. Exercising on a regular, that's good. I think we talked about that earlier as well. Of course, the self-talk piece of it, journaling. There are a lot of things that can be done to reduce that stress level. But really, the eating, the exercising, taking deep breaths in, and trying to just decipher between, what can you control and what situations you can't control. There are a lot of situations that we can't control. If we have to go somewhere and it's raining outside, you can't control that. So you can't stress out about it. You can't make it stop. So just looking at really, sometimes just writing down what are our stressors in our lives and just going down and marking off, I can control this. If I'm tired all the time because I'm always running, okay, what do I need to take off my plate? And just things that we can't control, just recognizing that, and then just kind of focusing on what we can do to reduce the stress in that particular area. Maybe we need to back off on some things.
Backing off on some things. I wholeheartedly agree. And I want to emphasize, we as women, we love to multitask. Right? We'll be doing 3 or 4 things at one time. And there's scientific research that shows human beings cannot multitask. So where did this come from? We think we're getting it done. But when you're doing one task, and you try to also simultaneously do another task, one of those tasks is going to be done at a lower level of quality. So something is going to suffer.
Yeah.
So we have to make sure that we're allowing enough time in our lives to do one task, do that well, and then move on to the next task. And that is easier said than done. Because I know sometimes I'll start to send an email, then my phone will ring and I answer that, and then and I need to do, and I forgot to send the email.
Yeah.
So let's rest. Build in time to rest, get focused, and stop trying to do 3 and 4 things at a time. Yes. Now, the 3 of you have mentioned something that I want to go deeper on. I've heard hormones, and you see me sitting up here now with my fan because occasionally I feel a little warmer. We call them hot flashes. What can we do? Because as we mature, of course, those hormones start to shift and go haywire, and then you're having hot flashes, insomnia, moodiness, irritability, all the things that come along with perimenopause and menopause. How does mitochondria fit into this picture? What can we do? And how does menopause affect our hair?
Yes. So now anything that affects the blood, anything that affects testosterone levels, estrogen levels, anything that is going to affect our hormones is definitely going to affect our hair. As I tell my clients, one of the things that I enjoy doing with them is for them to understand their hair's personality. And believe me, your hair has a personality. It lets you know, what you like, what it likes and does not like. And so when it comes to understanding the personality of your hair, you have to eliminate, using product to product, understanding that the growth cycle at any given time, there's a certain percentage of hairs that's in each part of that cycle, which is growth, rest, and shedding, the 3 different phases. And there's a certain percentage in each phase at one given time. Now, it was a point in time that we would say or think, well, my hair is in that growing season. We would think seasonally it changed, or it's the shedding season, but that is not so. So when our bodies is affected, it can throw our system off to where you would be in the resting phase longer, shedding phase longer, but definitely not thriving in that growing phase. So strategically, then what I do is help you, one, to learn then what's your hair's personality. What does it like? It could be moisture, it could be protein, it could be resting. Your hair may be not wanting you to not touch it as much at all. Just leave me alone. Just leave me alone. There are times when it could be trimming, cutting. You have those split ends. You rub it. It's rubbed across material that's not. It does not like. Then there you go, split ends. Going right up to the root. And so, but these are the things, is really understanding what your hair is responding to, and then at that time, what is causing your hair to thrive. I never say that there is not a good product, or this, these are bad products. I just say that your hair does not like it, because somebody else may use it and their hair is thriving from it. So then what makes that product then works for them and not for you? Siblings, you guys, born from the same parents. But again, we are individually made, individual fingerprints, and our hair is no different. Hair is no different. And so in understanding that is identifying, what is your hair love language? And then when it comes to mitochondria, then is making sure that the foundation is set. Once the foundation is set, then it's knowing, okay, knowing what the hair feels like. What is it telling me? How's it feeling? How's it thriving with this product? And then staying with that product for a few months. Because again, our bodies is self-healing. You cannot just place an ingredient or a product in it, on it, and expect immediately. We want to see immediate, change. We're not created like that. God can do that. He can. But again, when we are addressing these issues within our own bodies and our own systems. Again, be patient, allowing the time and allowing to see God work, because again, that's how he comes alive. That's how you see him in the physical, him working, him healing, but allow him the time to do so.
Yes.
Well, I just want to throw this a little bit. I have this little thing of telling people, when you're choosing what to put in your mouth, in your body for food, you got to know you're bringing in your vitamins, your minerals, your trace minerals, your protein, your enzymes, your hormones. Yeah, you're eating for your hormones and your essential fatty acids for your brain health and your immune system, all of that, and your joints. So wait a minute. So it's time to eat. What are you checking off on? Don't forget the hormonal system. You see, so you gotta eat a quality meal to be able to check everything off. Going back to that college that I used to just go in and give them a message every Wednesday. I never will forget. Here come the baseball player. He had messed up his arm, a ball had hit it, and he's just like carrying the arm around. Well, it was easy to help fix his arm, but he said, look, we got another problem on campus. These girls' cycles last forever. You're not able to have a real college life here with these girls, because the cycles are, taking up all the month. So what can you help us with? Can you put a product together to help us shorten these cycles? And so it was amazing. So I put the essential fatty acids. So we're working on the pituitary gland. We're getting this hormonal thing worked out. And so I put 3 things together. And so they said, we'll test it on campus. What was in it? The hormonal thing, one of them was the essential fatty acids. It was a soft gel made from flaxseed. And the other one was calcium. You see, calcium is for the bone, nerves, and muscles, okay? Because they were having pain on their cycle, okay? And then the other one was a pooping pill. I said, really? Yeah, they're full of it. So if the bowels are stuffed full of waste, it's sitting up against the ovaries and the uterus, the waste that's in the bowels is going right into the uterus, right into those ovaries, and causing them to malfunction.
Wow.
So but nobody's thinking about eating whole foods and taking supplements every day. They're doing the best just to get through these classes and get that tuition paid. And the quality of the food on campus. These students were coming in, we got a scale, we brought it today. It could measure your true age, your biological age based on what you're eating. They was coming in at 40 years old. No, you're 18 years old.
Wow.
They coming in at 40, 35, 50 years old. So you got to, just think, am I feeding all of my systems? And eat those whole foods to catch that, your vitamins, minerals, trace minerals, enzyme, hormones, protein, and essential fatty acids. So I put that in a package. So they would place it with the girls that are having long cycles. The very first one, they start taking it ovulation date, and take it, it's 14 days. It would go right up to the day that the cycle would start. And they wouldn't have any pain. The cycle would be like a 5 or 6 day cycle, and none of that. But usually hot flashes come, what I've seen in my lifetime, I've never experienced one, and I'm 72, but sugar, ice cream, cookies, cake, that'll bring a flash on, like you wanna,
Does
we
it?
wanna see a flash, we just read it
Does
to
it?
you right now, just wait. Okay?
Yes, stress induces hot flashes as well because it
stress
raises
make
your.
you eat the junky food.
Food.
Then you ate the junky food, then here come the hot flash. Wait a minute, which one came first? See
Wow.
what I'm saying? Because we will eat because of stress, and then now we flashing. And you just wanna jump off, but when do you jump? Just jump. And then don't eat the sugar, like please don't eat the sugar. Sugar feeds cancer. We know that. That's what sugar loves. Sticky, gummy, sugary, starchy foods. If you stay away from it, that's what I would say. I was the daughter of a lady who didn't have time to make sugary desserts foods. I think that's where I got it from, but I love vegetables. At 19, that's when I jumped into holistic health, and you do that
Wow.
for 72 years, so wait a minute, when did I go into menopause? I didn't. You see, you didn't experience all that, the dryness, the
Wow. So you've never experienced that?
no.
Wow.
Okay, for those of us who have experienced it, how can you help us? What do we do now? Is it too late?
What foods would you recommend that will lower the stress level?
Well, eat whole foods. You know, like if you had breast cancer, I remember eat cruciferous vegetables, broccoli, Brussels sprouts. That's 2 B's. That's how you can remember. Then 2 C's, cabbage and cauliflower. Yeah. And so don't forget to use the garlic to flavor it, but don't cook the garlic. Just crush it, mince it up, and then put it on there right before you eat it, and then drizzle some olive oil on it, and maybe drizzle a little honey. It's gonna taste wonderful. But then here come 2 more of those foods that would protect you from like breast cancer: asparagus and beets. You see,
Wow.
and those are some that you could add to it. But you know, just eat whole foods, eat organic food. If you eat dirty foods that are not organic, those chemicals are in your body and it's gonna make your body malfunction. You know, so, you know, and you're the keeper of your health. I mean, just thinking about mental health, taking supplements of mitochondria. The girl had just been grieving her mother's death. And as soon as she took a little half teaspoon of some mitochondria supplement or rubbed the cream on her temples or on her on her eyelids or on the brain stem, all of that, grieving her mother just left her. It's a state of mind. You got to know that everything you put in your mouth affects you in a certain way, mentally, emotionally, and physically, of course. So it's almost like I ask people, who's the matter with you? I know. I'll just say this so you see how easy it is. When I first opened up my first health food store, the guy came in. He said, "What do you have for a bladder infection?" I said, "Who pissed you off?" And so he said, "My wife. She took my credit card and she went and charged it up." Well, what about that you missed? You didn't miss anything, but we never thought of it that way. See, but stress is a lot. The car broke. We had to move. My husband died. All of these things, they send your pH in your body acid. Now you could just attract any disease to you. You gotta stay happy, And so maybe get yourself on a budget so you'll know that you're gonna have money and you do your bills a certain way so the stress don't build up, right? And you keep that gut clear. You see that person at work who always sets you off. don't have to set you off. We know her colon is jammed up. And but if yours is clear,
So that's the problem with mean people, right? Their colons are just jammed up.